Alrighty, folks, so today is, of course, Thanksgiving. Gobble, gobble, socialism works. Well, that means all of your woke friends are going to talk to you about how terrible Thanksgiving is. We're going to go through some of their arguments in just 1 second. First, this video is sponsored by our friends over at the Pearl Source.
Happy Thanksgiving, pilgrims.
While you eating your turkey, remember they murdered all the indigenous, taught us that it was innocent. Now we sitting every year and celebrating some innocence, teaching all of our children that it was a holy pilgrimage. Now we mad at the immigrants, even though we the immigrants. And when I say we, I really mean the ones that were stealing it. Now we eat in remembrance of the hateful people that was needing native assistance, and then they ended up killing them.
That is simplistic.
In the words of one of my actual friends, you're basic.
First of all, human migratory patterns have existed for literally all of human history. There is this very bizarre Howard Zinn story that is told about Europeans arriving on the American continent in which everything was peaceful Disney Pocahontas until the moment Europeans arrived on the continent. That was not true. Tribes were slaughtering each other en masse. The notion that there was no conflict between the tribes is, of course, very silly. If you're going to talk about the vast majority of predations committed against Native Americans, you have to fast forward a couple of centuries. You have to fast forward to the time of Andrew Jackson and the Trail of Tears. So again, linking pilgrims with that is strange. There's also this attempt very often in sort of Howard Zinn land to link the rise of disease in the New World as a form of deliberate genocide. That is absolutely incorrect. The bizarre notion that germ theory, people knew about it and that they were very into it circa 1630 is a strange one.
With 50 men, we could subjugate them.
Did you know that Native Americans taught white people how to bathe? And they used deodorant and breath fresheners, and they shampooed their hair. They bathed with cold water, like in the picture above, and they took sauna steam baths in what are called temazcal. Actually, my family has one. And when the Spanish first arrived, the Aztecs burned incense everywhere they went. And the Spanish thought it was out of respect, but the Aztecs probably couldn't bear the stench of smelly medieval Europeans. And it's recorded that a Wampanoag member named Tisquantum tried to teach the European colonizers how to bathe themselves.
It is true the Aztecs were really, really clean. Also, they used to carve the hearts out of people en masse by the tens of thousands. So I'm not sure how we weigh that in terms of good hygiene. So thumbs up on the cold bathing and the saunas, thumbs down on the ritual sacrifice of human beings, including children. As far as the Wampanoag being cleaner than the Europeans, that's true. And the Europeans were super dirty.
Must be a king. Go on. He hasn't got shit all over him.
But the idea that the Europeans learned cleanliness from the Aztecs and the Wampanoags is historically incorrect. There had been a lot of bathing on the European continent well before that. I mean, if you go back to Roman times, people used to regularly go to bathhouses, right? I mean, the public bathhouses were a major thing in ancient Rome. The actual advent of bathing in Europe as a widespread practice really didn't begin until the 19th century. And that was because there were medical doctors who started thinking, hey, maybe it's a good idea for us to wash ourselves. It wasn't like they went and visited the Aztecs and they're like, oh, you know what? These guys who are carving the hearts out of people, they really bathe well, though. They smell great. I don't know why you would connect those two things. Like, well, what is that? That's strange. It's a weird move.
Growing up, I knew that what they told you in school about Thanksgiving wasn't true. The true story behind Thanksgiving was after every killing of a whole village, these European settlers celebrated it, and they called it Thanksgiving. But it wasn't until Abraham Lincoln became president that it became an official holiday.
He ordered 38 Dakota men to be hung for war crimes
After the sacred holiday, Christmas.
We take this time to remember our elders who lost their lives.
So I'm not sure what the killing of 38 Dakota men after the Dakota Uprising has to do with Thanksgiving, per se. Again, if we're just talking about the vast predations committed against Native Americans in the United States, I'm on board. I mean, that tremendous evils have happened in the history of the United States. It is worth noting that the situation they're talking about with the Dakota men is still sort of historically controversial. This is in 1862. There was a Dakota Uprising that involved thousands of Dakotas rising up and rebelling against white colonial settlers in that region. There were massive massacres and widespread rape, and Lincoln basically pardoned nearly everybody except for 38 people. He looked over their trial records and then he sentenced them to be hanged. You know, again, lumping everything together is one of the things that you do when you want to draw one historical picture. And that picture is America is a vast history of predation and evil, and everybody else is an innocent that's been put upon by the United States. That's historically inaccurate again. The real question about America isn't, was America uniquely evil? The answer is no. The real question about America is, what about America has made it different from virtually any other colonizing state? We'll get to more on this in just 1 second. First, there is no better gift than the gift of fine pearl jewelry you didn't spend a fortune on. At the Pearl Source, you can get the highest quality pearl jewelry up to 70% off retail prices. By cutting out the middleman, the Pearl Source eliminates crazy jewelry store markups and sells directly to you, the consumer. The holidays are just around the corner. Now is the time to start shopping. Don't wait until it's too late. Shop the Pearl Source from the comfort of your home. You'll find the largest selection of pearls available anywhere, and each piece is custom made specifically for you. The Pearl Source offers fast and free 2-day shipping on every order. Your order will come prepackaged in a beautiful jewelry box ready to be gifted. Not sure if she'll love the gift? The Pearl Source comes with the no-hassle 60-day money-back guarantee with free return shipping, so it's risk-free. With more than 25 years in the pearl business and nearly 20,000 5-star reviews, when you're shopping with the Pearl Source, you know you're shopping with a trusted company. I gave my wife pearls from the Pearl Source. They are beautiful. She wears them frequently because they're awesome. Plus, I know the family that founded Pearl Source. Wonderful family, great business. This holiday, give the gift of beautiful pearl jewelry that can be passed down from generation to generation. For a limited time, my listeners can take 20% off your entire order. Go to thepearlsource.com/Ben, enter promo code Ben at checkout for 20% off your entire order. That's thepearlsource.com/Ben. Enter promo code Ben at checkout. If you want fine pearl jewelry at the best prices online, go straight to the source, the Pearl Source.
Why is it Thanksgiving? A common story told in many American schools for hundreds of years now is that the Pilgrims came to America, a randomly unnamed tribe of Indians sat down, cooked them a big dinner, handed over the rights to America, and lived happily ever after.
Is that the version that anyone was taught in school? That this is when the Native Americans handed the keys over to the United States? What part of the story was that? Thanksgiving is actually about the comedy that existed between Native Americans and the Pilgrims who arrived. The idea was the Pilgrims were basically starving and the Native Americans helped them out, and the Pilgrims were grateful and they all had dinner together. That's the very simplistic version of the Pilgrim story. The truth is there's more to it. There are a couple of wrinkles to the Thanksgiving story that are really quite interesting, including the fact that Squanto spoke English, right? The Native American who actually made sort of the bridge between the Pilgrims and the Native Americans who were there. He had been kidnapped by Westerners. It's a quite tragic story, but because he was Christian, that is why he helped facilitate the helping out of the Pilgrims. Also, there's a whole governmental aspect to how the Pilgrims acted when the Pilgrims got to the United States. Their original settlement was essentially founded along the lines of sort of a communist society. It failed. And then they ended up essentially redoing it along the lines of private property, which allowed for the colony to thrive. So there's a lot there.
Here's a song about the true history behind this holiday we call Thanksgiving. In school, we learned the origins of the first Thanksgiving feast. But what your teacher taught you ain't truthful in the least. It shouldn't come as a surprise. The Pilgrims' goal was to colonize and steal the land they landed on and claim it as a prize. They spread death, they spread disease to bring the native people to their knees. They murdered, robbed, and brutalized as often as they pleased. The Wampanoag still showed up, though, to let the colonizers know they were far out and the tribe is therefore.
Okay, and then we go on. Okay, so I just a few things about this. A lot of what he's saying historically is not false. And the question is, meaning history, again, replete with bloodshed, murder, terror, evil.
Rape, murder, arson, and rape.
But giving thanks to God for the fact that the United States exists, which is essentially what Thanksgiving is. If you look back to the original Thanksgiving Day Proclamation by Lincoln, or if you look back to the statements by George Washington, at no point is he like, I'm so thankful that we were able to slaughter the Native Americans. The notion is retconning things in a pretty dramatic way. The real question is whether it is a good thing the United States of America was established. And if so, then you do have to give thanks for American history, even while acknowledging all of its flaws.
Happy Thanksgiving and early Hanukkah.